you're on a roll. Ideas have been coming to you quickly, and you've been able to finish projects left and right. You're finally feeling good about your creative process and your routine. You feel like a creative genius. All is well. However, one day you wake up and the ideas aren't flowing anymore. It feels like somebody turned off your creative faucet. Now you're struggling to finish your projects. You've just been hit with the creativity killer. He'll sneak up on you and you'll never see it coming. By now he's a serial creativity killer because he's claimed over hundreds of thousands of artist victims. His name is familiarity. He's one of the most prolific creativity killers because he's hard to avoid. When you do something every single day over and over again, it tends to become boring. Everyone gets stuck in doing things how they've always done it. Familiarity brings comfort, and being too comfortable is where creativity goes to die. Because when we're comfortable, we stop trying new things. We stop being curious. We stop embracing the unknown, which is the ultimate state of creation. Because the unknown is a place of possibility, a place of mystery and wonder, and of endless curiosity. Luckily, there's an easy solution to stopping this creativity killer. And that solution is distance. You need to step away and put space and time between you and your creations. Because it's easy to get bored with the things we do, even if we love them. So stepping away helps you minimize the familiar, replenish your curiosity, and embrace the unknown.
Sit in the studio and I write just like everybody else. Listen to the beat over and over and over, right? But I always find that every time I step away from the studio, every time I step away from the book, if I go outside, if I go in the jacuzzi, if I go to a restaurant, that or even going upstairs and just thinking, not thinking about it. To me, that's when all the ideas come. It's like when I'm trying too hard, I get these great ideas.
In addition to coming back to your work with fresh eyes and a new perspective, you'll also come back with new ideas as a result of the Zeigarnik effect. And yeah, I never heard that word either until last year. But it basically states that we tend to remember incomplete or unfinished tasks more than completed tasks. The reason this happens is because when you start a project and you don't finish it, tension starts to build up in the back of your mind. And the only way to relieve that tension is by completing the project. So even when you step away and stop focusing on your work, the back of your mind is still trying to relieve that tension. And I've experienced this so many times, and you probably have too. You're driving, you're going on a walk, you're washing the dishes, you're taking a shower, and suddenly the ideas start flowing. And you just want to rush back and complete your project. Triggering the Zeigarnik effect is an exercise you should add to your creative process because it'll help you avoid creative block, burnout, and it'll help you create more. So here are 3 ways in which I use the Zeigarnik effect to always stay consistent with my creativity. So step 1 is the easiest, however the hardest thing for artists to do, and that's simply to start. We often put too much pressure on ourselves to get things done perfectly on the first try, and that usually stops us from doing anything. And as I've mentioned, the Zeigarnik effect states we tend to remember unfinished tasks more than completed tasks. And that's exactly what I remind myself. The goal is not to finish this project. And that simple mindset shift makes it easier to get started. That's all you need to gain momentum. The ideas will start flowing and eventually you'll have something. Whether it's good or bad doesn't matter. The important thing is that you got started. Because this triggers that tension in the back of your mind that won't be relieved until you finish the project. Step 2 is to step away from your work. Some people like to take a break when they hit that wall and the ideas stop flowing. However, I like to step away when I'm excited about what I have created so far. The reason I believe this works for me is because that excitement carries with me throughout the whole day to the point where I want to rush back and finish my project. I like to compare it to watching a TV show where the episode ends with a good cliffhanger, but then you're interrupted with having to do some chores or run some errands. The desire to know what's gonna happen keeps replaying in the back of your mind. You need to watch that next episode to relieve that tension. The same thing happens when you stop at a high point in your creative process. That excitement will stay with you until you finally complete that project. Finally, step 3, while you're away from your work, you need to practice productive procrastination, which I stole from the book Steal Like an Artist. The book states you need to have side projects, stuff that's just fun and feels like play, something that you don't need to make money off of. For me, this is working out and photography. So in order to break up my familiar and comfortable routine, some days I decide not to head straight to my studio and instead go on a photo walk. This is basically where I walk around different neighborhoods and take pictures. This keeps me curious by traveling to new neighborhoods to explore. and helps me embrace the unknown because I never know what's around every corner. My other productive procrastination is working out. It helps me move around because most of my days are spent sitting and creating, and my gym times vary because, like I've said, I try to step away at a high point in my creative process. So sometimes I work out sooner and sometimes later, depending on how my creative process is going. And what I have learned from both the photo walks and working out is that number one, they help me generate more ideas. And number two, even though I'm away from my actual work, I'm still practicing skills that add to my creative process. This strategy works when you're having trouble progressing, but also works when you think you have a solution. The amount of time away from your work depends on a variety of factors, including the length of your creative block, the size and complexity of the problem, and the degree of familiarity. So use trial and error until you find the right amount of time and distance. Then alternate between deep focus on your work and time spent away to maximize your creativity and minimize your wasted energy. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to make art or die.